So I didn't screw up the operation because I had arrived early. I also didn't wear white. I wore a maroon outfit. And now that both families had arrived to and congregated in that narrow white hallway, it was time to enter the brown wooden double doors. Uh, a t- Basically, a tall white judge stood behind the stand. He let us knew from the jump that there was a line of folks in the hallway who were waiting to get married. We therefore we'd have to be quick and get to the point. I sat in the back rows of the courthouse as more of a fly on the wall, and it's more of a scribe taking notes. I watched as the bride and groom said their vows, and I made sure to take pictures and I sent them to the group chat in real time. Created our own little feed. It was fun. And even though this series is primarily about my cousin, I wanted to focus on someone else for this video in particular. I want to focus on the groom's father, um, my uncle. I guess he's my oldest uncle because I have two of them. And then he is the man basically who, let's see, Eric Washington Jr. So yeah, my uncle named my cousin after himself, and he basically is the man who never smiled as he got older. My uncle smiled more when I was a young child in the late 1990s. I was born in 92, so I remember like 94, 97. I love both my uncles, love them to death. I'll probably make a separate video about my other uncle at another time. But I remember this particular uncle, the groom's father, uh, he took the training wheels off my bike when I was still living with my grandparents. It was um, himself and my mother. And I remember that day very particular as like one of the most pivotal times in my life because I used to ride, I used to ride a bike with training wheels on my grandparents' dirt road. And so he took them off, and then I would try to go out onto the road, and I kept crashing. And I kept crashing like very bad. I bled, like I bled a lot. And so every time I'd crash, I would scrape myself. I would take my bike back. Um, on that day, it was dark. And I don't know what it was. I don't know why the hell that day was like dark. And I mean dark. I don't mean like it was like nighttime. It was like the skies for whatever reason. Um, on that particular day were like a very very dark gray. Um, but I would go back to my grandparents' mobile home, and I would run up to my mom, and then she would patch me up, and then I would go right back out, and I would keep doing that, and then eventually I would learn how to ride the bike. But he was the one who took the training wheels off, and so he was also the one who would bring my mother and I to visit my cousin, the groom, and my cousin Mason, and then my uncle's other children as well. So I remember this very vividly, the 90s, because both my uncles actually loved to cook on the grill. And I remember that both my oldest uncle and my grandmother always had like a gold tooth in their mouth with like a star in the middle. And now, I don't know. I could speculate, but I honestly don't know what caused my uncle to be more stern as he got older. He was definitely more of a socialite out of both my two uncles. He was definitely the life of the party for sure, and I can only speculate on theories. However, I saw something on my uncle's face as my cousin and his now wife said their vows in the courthouse, which was genuine happiness. Um, watching that man tear up was something that could only be compared to like watching like an Olympic track runner cross the finish line. I mean, I don't know what can really compare to it, but as I mentioned earlier, my uncle is a deeply religious man, and to put it in like down south Baptist terms, the victory had been achieved.